What's up, my dudes? We got the Buttery Smooth MX track. So, this track is made by a dude ski named 7 2 spelled out and then 2. I know that sounds a little weird, but his name basically, you say it like 722, but it's a 7 and then TWO and then a 2. So, if you want to look this dude up on the forums, you can always do that and see more of his tracks and stuff like that. But yeah, so I really wanted to come in here and review this track specifically because I really think you're onto something here, man. This is a cool, totally different kind of vibe filling than a lot of other tracks. It seems like you get on with MX Simulator like this. Seemed like I was crashing right there. Let me see. Seemed like I got it going maybe on the second lap or something. My bad here, boys. Sometimes I do that where I'll just start wrecking at the beginning. Maybe I was good after I got through that. Either way, let me give you a seizure real quick by fast forwarding that gameplay. Sorry there, boys. We'll just let it play through. I don't know what the hell I was even doing in the gameplay. Okay, here we go, dude. Sorry about that. This track can definitely take you a couple of corners, kind of figure out what the hell you're doing because it's such a different design track. And I think this is so cool right here that it's got this. It's not just titled, buttery smooth and like you'd think a smooth track, that kind of thing. It really does feel like a very unique, one of a kind by the entire design of it. Like, yes, it is based around buttery smooth, but it's not just as simple as that. I guess what I'm trying to say, like it is a full-blown, unique, one of a kind design. And it really feels like that. When you get on this track, you feel like, man, I don't know if I've ever been on a track quite like this before. And this is what I love right here, dudes. This is what MX Simulator needs right here, is these tracks that are not cookie cutter. They feel different than all the other tracks. They feel like people has really sat down and tried to come up with something unique with it and really try to add, more to the game that's like actually progressing the game forward and giving you different sort of angles and ways to look at things instead of just continuing to make the same kind of tracks over and over and over again. I like when people go in here and do this kind of stuff. Did I pop off? No, got close, boys. By the skin of my nipples on that one. You gotta be careful on MX Sim when you over jump. You definitely over jump some jumps on this track. But it's got a cool feeling though. Like you would think a smooth track could kind of be boring, right? That might be your first sort of thought, but he's done this in such a cool way that it really has a lot of. He's got plenty of jump fun factor. You got quite a few jumps on here. A lot of them can feel slightly on the small side if you're on a 450. So just be a little bit aware of that, right? You can definitely over jump some of this stuff. So I would say you want to hit stuff typically about 70-80% throttle on a 450 and you'll land it pretty good. It's kind of that type of track right there. And then you'd be more like 90% to 100% on a 250 and you'd land it pretty good. But there still are some jumps on here that you're going to over jump regardless. Like you really need to slow down for. But I just like the way he's melded together some of these corners, and it's a little bit hard to explain, but the way he's done that where he's kind of like got it where it kind of makes almost like a, I don't know how you explain it, but the way he rolls his corners around and the way they kind of have like elevation in different areas and off camber, kind of feels like you're in a water slide. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way he's designed some of these corners, and it just matches this whole smooth kind of vibe that he's got going with it. It just makes everything feel unique, right? Because it is super smooth, right? So there is no real roughness. There is one little area, it's kind of got like rollers through a corner. I mean, I guess you could kind of consider that roughness a little bit, but, it really is trying to be that unique, like, smooth, super, super smooth track. And the corners reflect that sort of design, It's not just like super simplistic, flat, smooth corners. He's got like a cool, where he still made berms and interesting corners and stuff, but kept that smooth sort of feel with it, right? So he was able to really put that together. You get going, Mach 10 on this motor trucker. You got to be careful on this track. It is so smooth that you can get going wicked fast on a 450. So got to be a little careful there. Like that right there. I mean, there ain't a whole lot you can do but over jump that jump because you come out of the corner so quick. But typically on a motocross track, you guys know that's what slows you down is the roughness. That's what That's why you can't ride it to its maximum potential. Getting squirrely right there again. So when you get a super smooth track like this, you really start to realize different ways you can ride the bike and different potentials of the bike that you might not necessarily would ever get that sort of experience on any of the other tracks. Kind of reminiscent to a stock track in MX Simulator, but not as shitty of traction. It doesn't have the same slick, weird traction that a lot of those old stock tracks had, and it's not as flat. It may be as smooth, but it's not as flat. So like this corner right here, a good example, you still have two really big rut berms in these corners, still super smooth, but still it's kind of like you mixed a stock track with a newer motocross track in a way. It's like you took the smoothness of a stock track, but then made some of the other elements and the tractions and the decal and all that, kind of more modernized look to everything. Kind of like you just mixed a stock track and a newer vibe track together, and gives it a really cool feeling, man. I think this is a cool, this isn't just a track to me. This is a whole entire track design, thing. I don't know how to explain. Like, for instance, yeah, I mean, I've done this a multitude of times, but you make different kind of track designs where it's like a whole entire track, like my future SX track, right? Where it was a whole supercross track made with concrete, which had never really been done in the game. And then that evolves into making a whole entire motocross track with concrete, or what it just goes, or this kind of track with super traction concrete. And this is kind of the same sort of, it's a whole different type of track, you know what I mean? I would call this not even motocross, not even supercross. This is buttery smooth cross, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole different kind of motocross racing in my opinion. So that's cool. It's he was able to actually capture an entirely different type of track design, and it's so unique in that sense that it really holds its own. I feel like you could really, which there's a lot of supercross tracks out there like this, like that super smooth, almost so smooth that they're not even realistic, right? And that's kind of how this track is. It almost takes it to the smooth level of not even, typically real life tracks are not going to look like this. They're just not, unless it's the very first lap, and even then it doesn't, most of the time doesn't really look like this. And sometimes when it's super hard pack and dry, it can kind of look like that. But even when it's like that, you have blue groove ruts, you have little choppy braking bumps. It's not perfectly smooth all the way around the track like this. So it's cool. It's almost like a fantasy design track. It really is, in a certain sense. When you think about it, nice little water pond over here. Didn't really get a good look at it. I was busy whipping plumb over the other way. That's a nice watercolor over there. But, yeah, I mean, just overall, really cool design in that sense. Corners are fun. And it's just fun to, kind of have that smooth flow around a track. And a lot of people love a lot of the supercross tracks for that, because they're so smooth that you can keep that flow and you never, lose your momentum and flow from roughness or, a wall or anything like that. So, but supercross tracks are kind of typically known for that on MX Simulator. A lot of times, more times than not, your supercross tracks are perfectly smooth, unrealistic smooth, in fact. But normally your motocross tracks is what 9 times out of 10 is going to have some kind of roughness, some kind of little kicker or rut going up the jump face or something, because that's what makes motocross. But this dude kind of took a completely, 180 approach to that and smoothed everything out on it. So, but he did it on purpose. I think some people have a super smooth track, flat track, just because they don't know how to design it any better. That's not what this is. This is purposely making it super smooth, but see, you still got nice berms in some corners. It's not like a perfectly flat track. He's still got tons of elevation here and there. It feels like a natural track in the elevation sense. Really cool little scrub jump right here. You might even be able to double that all the way. Woo! That'd be a huck and a half, boys. I don't know about that. But, yeah, the sick track right here, dude. A couple fun little tabletops like this. Not a super difficult track at all. As far as the off track, it's, he's got a nice grass decal. He's got more of a standard tan dirt decal over here. And then the on-track decal. It's pretty simple, like off-track decal work, design work, grass, object, billboards, tree objects. It's all pretty standard, nothing too crazy. He's got almost like a dune vibe type thing going on out there. It's not above and beyond off-track wise. It's kind of what you come to expect with. It's kind of what I would call average off-track for MX Simulator. It's what you kind of come to expect, but it does have an SX track on it. I'm only reviewing the MX track right here because I try to keep it, he's got a full smooth SX track over there, but it can be kind of difficult trying to review two different tracks in one compound at the same time, so I try not to do that, but yeah, dude, either way, sick track right here. Link down below, as always. It links you to the actual forum post of it. I'll put that down in the description there if you guys want to go download the track. And to all you track members out there, keep making cool shit like this. I'll keep coming in here and reviewing it. And as far as overall for this track, I mean, if you're talking about a rate, the uniqueness of it is a 10. The just standard filling on the track is like a 7, and then the off track is like a 5. So I would somewhat put it in there together. Off track maybe like a 6. Off track, on track, look, like visual, everything. I would put it all together to maybe give this guy I'm gonna give it an 8 overall, just because of the unique design of it, because of him trying to do something different. If it didn't have that, if it was just a standard motocross track like this, didn't have the super smooth effect to it, it'd be more like a 6 or a 5, right? But I'm going to boost her up to an 8 because I really feel like this people need to start doing more of this kind of stuff instead of just your average, everyday, ordinary, just another motocross track with standard-ass cookie-cutter lines and cookie-cutter jumps and cookie-cutter roughness and, cookie-cutter ruts and all that. It's cool when you get on something different like this. So difficulty, probably looking at, it is super smooth, so you about have to say it's easy. And the jumps aren't that hard. Some of them do get a little bit bigger, but you got plenty of landings. There is that one big one on the north end, I think, of the track here, and it's a little bit big, and some of the tabletoppies can be a little bit big, but they're not that crazy, man. So, difficulty is somewhere in that easy to medium range, I would put it. Now, if you get going real fast, it's more like medium difficulty because you're going so fast, just from sheer speed, the difficulty starts to kind of hit you a little bit trying to control the bike and do all that 9 yards of it. But yeah, guys, either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Don't forget all my track reviews in a playlist on my front page. I'll leave a link to my track review playlist down below in the comments. If you guys want to go click on that, I've got literally I don't even know, 200 or 100 to 2. I think I've got 200 track reviews at this point when you count all the games and stuff. So there's a lot of content there. There's a lot of stuff there. I'm pretty much the MX Simulator track reviewer. I don't really know anybody else that's doing it, especially not to this extent, or has done it to this extent or anything. I don't really see anybody else doing this many MX Simulator track reviews. So I've definitely got the experience on that aspect of it for sure, man. So either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes. Drink up on that tea, boys. You know what it is.